Okay, we don't have much time. It's like almost 1, and at 2 we gotta leave for the shop. So we need to get a modified blueprint ready for the shop really quick. So that's what we're gonna do. So we're gonna put these windows for the we're gonna put the windows for the Paint 5D system. We're gonna put them up here, so that we can forget about them for a bit, and so that we can open up the editors for. I want to open up the editors for. Let's close this. I need to open up the editors for. Not editors. My brain's fried here. I need to open up some files. Gotta open up those files. So, open up, and, we're gonna open up, let's go into the, CBS folder. I think that's where we're gonna find some stuff. And then, within these cutting folder, we have coffee table, and we have acrylic, and we have these plans, right? And if we look at cut.scad, let's go open that up, and we'll put that, like, over here. And we have a function that cuts, this 13 by 3.5 scrap, right? And we want to open this in OpenSCAD as well. And we want to create another one of these, but we want to do it for... keep this over here, I guess. We want to do it for... Why do I have 2 things open? Let's close that. So this right here is not exactly what I need. I thought I needed this kind of bone, and turns out not quite. So what we're going to do here is we're going to take this thing, and we're just going to call it, we're going to paste it, right? We're going to paste all the code, and we're going to say, scrap sheet 2, SS2, for scrap sheet 2. And, so 3-way bones and lab bones. Lab for, it's an abbreviation for a double-sided axe, but my brain isn't working well enough to tell you what the name of that kind of axe is. It's like a lab something or other. But if we take this, we have these things called bats, right? So if we replace one of these with a thing called LAB, we should have the part, okay, that's not exactly what I'm looking for. That's a little bit too big. Oh, it's an axe. So that's lab is for double-sided axe, and then axe is just one-sided axe. It's a weird name. And then let's comment this out so that we can see the bounds here. And yeah, so I realized in the design these are the actual parts that I need, not the other ones. So that's all I needed to do. So pretty simple stuff. Just needed to do this, and then there, it's ready to cut. You'll notice that there is a little bit of space right here. That is intentional because this corner of the material isn't completely 13 by 3.5. There's actually like a little notch in the scrap material. So we're going to have to go with... So this is our blueprint to cut, right? So it's... So now that we have this blueprint name and we've rendered it, we're going to file and we're going to export. And oh, we're not going to do that yet. We just wanted to make sure that it was in bounds and that everything looked kind of good. So now we're going to say MP for micropoint. And we're going to run this again. Oh, uppercase. MP. Okay, and then we're going to run this again. And then file, export as SVG. And then within here, we're going to take this SS2, right, because it's the same exact dimension. So scrap sheet 2 is 13 by 13.5, and we're going to save it as .svg. Okay, so now that we have that saved, we also want to snip and create a screenshot of this so that we can find this in the root directory of this mini project. So we're going to just screenshot that and save it within this root directory here. And we're going to save it at the as the exact same name as the function we used to create it. So that way we have an easy way to connect the code to an image, right? Because that's the hardest. Well, it's one of the hardest parts, I think, of code is just connecting what you see on screen to the actual code that's generating what you're seeing on screen. So we'll save this. And now we can close this, and we just need to open up paint.net. And also, do we have the correct timestamps on here? 153. Yeah, it is 154. The video ID is 154. Just making sure there. And we're going to... wrong program. Did this yesterday, too. Inkscape. Some of you are so used to paint.net. But for this kind of stuff, the most important program is actually vector editing, not raster editing. So we got this SVG. Looks like OpenSCAD was smart enough to know how to name my extensions there. And we're going to just take this thing here, and we're just going to make some edits. So we got this thing, and all we want to do is grab it. We want to go into fill and stroke. And within the fill and stroke properties, if you can ever see them, stroke style in pixels, we're going to set it to 0.001. And it just needs to be something sufficiently small enough to for the laser cutter to recognize it as a line. So a cutting line needs to be a certain thinness, or else the epilogue laser cutter won't recognize it as such. So that looks good to me. And then we want to go into document properties. We want to just confirm that in inches we get exactly 13 by 13.5. And indeed we have that. And then we want to save this as, and we're going to say, so we name this as SVG to ink. We're going to do the same thing over here. So we're going to say SVG convert to inkscape.svg, right? So that I know that this is the file that has the... well, I gotta get ready for the shop. God, you were watching me too. Wait, was that... Oh no, the font's just different. Delirious. I gotta get these plans ready for the shop. You can't... I don't know, can you see that? The contrast is a little bit high on one of my monitors. But there's some plans down here. And I'm exporting them because I have to go to the shop. It's just a laser cutter. It's not too dangerous. It's mostly make sure that things don't light on fire when you're running the jobs. But yeah, I just have to export these files before I go to the shop, so... no. Oops. Okay. So, we got this, and we also want to... Actually, we don't even want to save this as a PDF. We don't really want one single run, but... you know, well, you never know. Let's look at the other files we got in here. Yeah, I don't see any reason to make a PDF of this. Just because of the way we do this. So, okay, we got this, right? And let's kind of full screen this for a second, because we're working with this. And let's go look up the layers. And the hackish way we're going to do this, to get this to cut, is rather than using a very high power and slow speed, it's better to just do high power and multiple fast passes in order to avoid getting like huge amounts of kerf. So if the laser goes very slow and very hot, it's like a stream of lava coming at your material, and it does not work well. So what you can do is you can just take this, right, and then you can just cut and paste it multiple times. So we're just going to go edit and paste in place, right? And then we're just going to lock and hide that. And we're going to do it 6 times. So we're just going to go this, L2, add, and then edit, and then we're going to paste in place. And then we're going to do it again, right? L3, add, edit, paste in place. And then we're going to do L4, add, and then edit, and we're going to paste in place. Okay, then we're going to hide that and lock it. L5, add, edit, paste in place. And then we're going to do it one more time. Add, edit, paste in place. So if you're curious, this is for 1/8 inch thick acrylic. So for 1/8 inch thick acrylic, if we do 6 passes at 80% speed and 100% power and a frequency of 4,999 hertz, we get pretty good results. So, and also the nice thing about the reason I don't do 100% speed, right? Because it'd be nice just to do 100% speed and then you eliminate 2 variables, right? Instead of messing with speed and power, if you just always do 100% speed, then you can just be like, okay, the easiest thing would be 100% speed, 100% power, and then you just figure out how many passes you need before the part cuts out, right? Because you're eliminating variables that way. However, after 80% speed, if you try something like 100% speed, I think the servos or the gears or something slightly slip and you get slight inaccuracies. So you don't actually want to go that fast. Also, there's a lot of shaking when you go that fast. So 80% speed is usually what I choose. It's about as fast as I can go without losing quality of the path. So as long as I say everything's 80% speed, everything is 100% power, then I only have to think about how many cutting paths do I need before that part, falls out, right? So that's kind of what I'm doing here. So we're going to file, and we're going to save this as, and we have this kind of naming convention here, right? So we're going to call this, scrap sheet 2, 13 by 3.5, 6 times .svg. So we're going to save that. Okay. Now that we have that, we just want to clean up the file names because, what is this? Wide people happy. So, the next thing we need to do here, and I can put this over here. The next thing we want to do is just check those files because Inkscape isn't too smart about this kind of stuff. So, right, like this I named .svg, it tacked on svg here. I named this .svg, it tacked on svg here, right? So we need to clean that up. So we're just going to remove this .svg. I like capital extensions because I'm old school. I still think it's the right way to go, even though Microsoft recommends doing something else. Microsoft, I think, is recommending lowercase. I disagree. But maybe I'm just stupid. I don't know. With how tired I am, I might be a little bit stupid. Okay. Well, definitely. Okay, so I just realized we actually have to, we got the scrap sheet too, but I forgot one kind of vital important thing, which is we need to export it to PDF for it to be ready for the laser cutter. So, right over here, we're just going to go File, and we're going to just Save As. And actually, before we do that, layer, let's check the layers, make sure they're still there. Yep, still there. Just checking. So, File, and we're going to Save As, and we're going to just click PDF, right? And then we're going to call this .pdf, and it's going to have that pdf.pdf. I'll fix that after I save it. Default settings are usually working for me. Close without saving. Go over here. I'm going to rename this. Get rid of this redundant PDF. Okay, cool. So now if we open that up in our PDF viewer, we should just see the path. The PDF viewer actually displays this a little bit better in terms of we can actually see the lines. Right, so these lines, even though they display pretty thick in the PDF viewer, the settings in the SVG data, I don't know exactly how PDF encodes the SVG data, but the settings in this PDF file, though we may be able to see the thickness of the lines in the actual code are encoded to be thin enough to be recognized as cutting lines for the laser cutter. So I just realized that I didn't cut all the same parts. I cut this in here, and then I didn't cut this here. God damn it. You know what, to do half and half isn't bad though, you know, because it's not even half and half, it's just one of these. And this is what I get for being tired. Okay. So, scrap sheet 2, we gotta do that over again. Half and half would be fine, but that's not acceptable. We can do half and half, though. Half and half is fine. But let's do scrap sheet 2. We're going to delete scrap sheet 2 from here. So it says SS2. Oh, man. It says SS2. Any of these things that say SS2. Starting over. Anything that says SS2, we're going to delete this. Delete. SS2. And we're going to do the whole process over again. So this is one reason not to do things while you're tired, because then you make mistakes and you spend a whole bunch of time because you just do stupid things, right? So this is correct over here. This one's correct over here. But we need... well, actually, let's just cut this with all the... Since we have a sheet that already has these in it, we might as well cut all these out as well from the material, so that we have a choice of things we can switch between. Yeah, that's what we'll do. So let's go open up this and not be so stupid here. So right, this function that we placed in here to substitute everything, it's only one call in here, right? We can verify that. And so we want to do this. We're going to go bam, bam, bam. There's going to be some overlap we're going to have to fix. Right, so this is not correct. And so instead of this being -9, we're going to make this -8 on the x-axis. That shifts over. That's good. Make sure that looks good. And then this one, instead of +7, we want to make this +6. So save that. And then that is now in the correct place. And then this other one that is +19, we're going to make it +20. Right, so we're going to shift it over, right? So the nice thing is, since the parts interlock, we can get these parts, we can, right, we want to make most of this material, right? Now, if we're plastic injection molding, we wouldn't have to worry about this, but we're not, so we have to actually we actually have to figure out how to pack this stuff in the most efficient kind of way. So while we're at it, do we want to at least just say... Do I want to just put this up here at here? Because then if we make any mistakes and accidentally flip the material the wrong way, we don't screw ourselves over. I'm thinking about it, and I think not. Just because if I let myself put the material either way, I just always want the material. So there's a little notch in the material, in the scrap material. I don't want to have the flexibility to set it one way or the other way. Because if I get used to setting it one way or the other way, and I don't remember to do that, I don't place emphasis on that, then I think things are just going to go to hell over time. So it's kind of like with compiling code, right? You have stricter and stricter compilation settings, and those strict compilation settings save you from headaches, right? So if I have a very strict way of doing this, where the notch in the scrap material that's right here is always going to be placed on this side of the laser cutter, in this bottom right corner. It's not going to be placed up here. It's not going to be placed up here. It's not going to be placed up here. The notch in the scrap material is always going to be here. If I'm consistent about that, things are going to be going much better for me. So yeah, let's take that and roll with that. So what we're going to do now is we're going to just snip it, and we're going to overwrite the old file name that was the screenshot. So good thing we didn't commit anything yet. So just take that, and we're going to file save as. and we're going to say scrap sheet 2, right? So this is scrap sheet 2, so you're going to save that. And it's a PNG file, so overwrite that. And then we're good here, right? We can... Oh, actually, we're not good yet. File, export, and we want to export a SVG. And this SVG is going to be... it's going to be named like this, but it's just going to be SS2. So SS2 13 by 3.5.svg. Save that. Okay, now we're going to do the whole Inkscape thing again. So we're just going to open up Inkscape, and then maybe we'll have a 30-minute nap before we go. But we want to have everything ready, because sometimes if we try to take a nap and then get up and get this ready, we might realize, oh crap, it's taken us longer to do this than we thought, and then we're not ready, and then we're at the shop. If we're at the shop, we need to be cutting material, not setting up files, because we only get 2 hours on that machine every day. So we got this. Let's open that up, and let's try to move it back onto the monitor we want it on, because Inkscape does not like multiple monitors for some reason. First thing we're doing, we're going to grab all this, and we're going to say object, fill in stroke, and wait for the menu to pop up on us. And then we're going to say stroke style, and it's going to be 0.001 pixels. And with that, we have lines thin enough to cut on the laser. And we're also going to look at document properties. And this is just display values, so it doesn't really matter. But for my sanity of mind, 13 by 3.5, make sure that's exact. And then we're going to close this. And then we're going to file save as. And this is going to be kind of named like this, except it's scrap sheet 2, 13 by 3.5, SVG to inkscape.svg. So we're going to save that. Okay. And now we're going to close this and fix that file name really quick. All right. So we're going to rename this. And then we're going to open with Inkscape again. And we're going to do the same cut, paste, make multiple layers kind of thing. So file, actually no, layer, layers. And we're going to select everything on here before we make any layers, because otherwise things can get kind of tricky. We're going to name this L1 for layer 1, and then we're going to edit, and we're going to paste in place, and then we're going to lock and hide, new layer, edit, paste in place, then we're going to lock and hide, then we're going to make a new layer, add, edit, we're going to paste in place. Okay, we're going to lock and hide, make a new layer, layer 4, edit, and we're going to paste in place, and then we're going to lock and hide. Okay, new layer, layer 5, edit, paste in place, we're going to lock and hide. One last layer, layer 6, add, edit, we're going to paste in place, and then one last thing, everything's locked, but it's all hidden. We're going to toggle and make sure that every single layer has one image on it, right? So that all looks good. So now that we have this, we're going to file and save as. And we're going to save it as SS2 13 by 3.5 underscore dot 6t. 6t for dot 6 times, right? 6 times. Dot SVG, right? So we got a 6 times dot SVG, meaning 6 cuts. So we'll save that, and then we're gonna file save as, and we're gonna say this is a PDF. So we're gonna go file format PDF and 6t dot PDF, and we're gonna save that. Okay. So now we're hoping that we actually didn't screw this process up. Close without saving, and fix these file name extensions. And take a look at that PDF, make sure that it looks correct. So, looks good to me. Looks like it's proper, right? Yeah. So, right, so we got these bigger pieces, which are just going to be better for, like these modular pieces. Some of them will become the feet of the table, right? So we have this little prong here, and we want to put this piece on the side of here, And we want a nice flat surface on all four sides for the table leg, because we don't want a whole bunch of pressure going here and here and making the table leg just go crackety crack on us, right? Now we might also want to think about making the very bottom tippity tips of the table out of wood, to make sure that it has a little bit less brittleness, because acrylic is very brittle. So we may want to just cut the final pieces in the bottom of the table out of wood. Like, we might want to do that. We'll get to that when we get to it, I guess. So let's close that. Close all tabs. And yeah, we're good to go for that. So let's go into create the utility patent thing here. And do a git bash here. And all we're going to do is push this up to, what do you call it? Git status, oh god. Git add dot. Git commit dash am. Ready to cut for 2021 02 23. Okay, git status, git push, GitHub master. It might be GitHub origin on this one, I don't know. Or origin master. Looks like that's working. Okay, so now that we have that, we just need to grab our thumb drive, plug it in, and pull from here. So we need to go grab our thumb drive. So we have it ready for the shop. So I'm gonna go do that. I'm gonna get up. and just walk over to a table and grab it, and then I'm gonna plug it in. Okay. So here we go. So we're gonna look at this, and hopefully this is up to date. Like, hopefully there's nothing like git bash here, and let's just do a git status here. We probably do need to do a git pull first, but let's do a git pull. If we wanted to be really careful, I believe we do a fetch first before we do a pull. But you know, I'm the only one person working on this, so I don't need to be too worried about. Okay, yeah, so that looks good. So cd m and cd create box shelves, and then ls, and cd cut. There should be a cut folder, and then cd cough tab or coffee table. ls, what do we call it? Oh, cough tab with the E. Oh, because it's 7 letters, of course. CD cough tab. LS. And then we have metal and acrylic. So CD acrylic, because that's the material we're cutting. And if you look at this, we got, hey, look, there's those files, and we see the SS2 files. SS2, 13. This one right here is the one I'm concerned about, right? So, right there. Scrap sheet 2, 13 by 3.5, and 6 times. And this underscore here is just so that I can more easily see this 6 times, because file names be crazy. Okay, so that's good. That's good. I just needed to do that because now it's like 30 minutes before I have to go. So, okay. So, I am... Yeah, so the 30 minutes that are spent here is 30 minutes I don't lose on the laser cutter, so that's kind of the idea behind that. Um, so yeah, that was just me doing some industrial design stuff really quick, and I'm out of here. So see you later.